What's up guys, and welcome to the final episode of the F1 Legends career mode. Yes guys, season 1 is coming to an end, and of course it's just one more day now, or just over a day, until we get our hands on F1 2017. And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below as to whether you want to see the Legends career mode back for F1 2017. Obviously it won't be coming out straight away, but yeah, leave down below in the comments a reason why you want to see it back in F1 2017. It'd be great to see whether you guys want to see a season 2. Make sure to leave a like down below, and as you can see, we are finishing off the season at the incredible Interlagos circuit in Brazil, and we have got a championship to go and win. We are up against Niki Lauda, and you can see there what we have to do to win the championship. So if Lauda finishes third, we have to win, and then just below that you can see what we have to do. So we can't afford to finish any lower than 5th position, and even if we do finish 5th, we have to rely on Lauda finishing out of the points. But now we are going to take a look at what the grid is looking like for Sunday's race. And boy, we have got a great race in store for you guys. You can see the Williams car there looking beautiful as ever. But there we are then on the grid currently. So just being talked to by our engineers, trying to keep calm, and there you can see we qualified in P7, a little bit disappointed, but it was Jack Brabham that took pole position, and our championship rival Lauda is in P10, so pretty poor qualifying from him, and his teammate Schumacher, he could only manage 9th. But as we take a look at the bottom half of the grid there, you can see that it was pretty much 2x2 in the bottom half of the grid. But the Renaults, I think, are the ones to watch. They've been pretty good in this second half of the season. But there you can see what the drivers' standings are looking like. So obviously Lauda has a 9-point lead. We've seen what we have to do in order to win this championship. Fangio is a long way behind there on 71 points, and then obviously you've got Fittipaldi on 68, and behind him you've got Senna on 63. But as we look down the grid, just to see what cars are where on the grid, so we are lining up just behind actually Juan Manuel Fangio, I believe. His teammate Lewis Hamilton though had a pretty good qualifying, and as we come through here in P7, we've got Nelson Piquet behind us, and then the 2 Ferraris, so he can hopefully act as a little bit of a buffer. But what a lap it was from Jack Brabham. It just came out of nowhere, and he is going to be starting his first race of the season from pole position. Obviously Piquet managed to make it into the top 10 and for the first time at this season, but now we are revving up to the 5 red lights. You can see on the left hand side of the screen now we have 5 lights, and away we go. And it's an awful start for Brabham at the front, but we got a great start, and Brabham's being passed left, right and centre. He's got troubles from the get-go. He's already down behind us in P6, and now we're going side by side with our teammate, and we sort of force him off wide. There is almost contact between the two of us. We were hoping it'd be almost a free position, seeing as we are in a championship battle, but we're running side by side now with Sebastian Vettel coming down into the big braking zone, down past the Senna S's and at the end of the DRS straight. So we do manage to get up into P4. And now we are just behind the 2 McLarens and the Mercedes there of Lewis Hamilton, who is out in the lead after a very poor start from Jack Brabham. But you can see we're hanging on to P4, but we're quite a way behind the front 3. So obviously that poor start from Brabham, and also not a great start from Sebastian Vettel, mean that the front 3 managed to pull a little bit of a gap. But yeah, hopefully we can just sort of hold on to their tails, because at the moment, well, I think it could be enough. 12 points, of course. We've got to hope that Lauda is in 9th or below, which I believe he is at the moment, because I don't think he's made any positions on the first lap of the race, but we really can't afford to bank on that as the race goes on. So we need to be making positions up as the Grand Prix progresses. But we're just going to take a look at the replay now of the start of Brabham, and he just literally, it just doesn't look as if he actually gets off the line. And you can see he's being passed left, right and centre, and it's just a horrific start. And he was even running side by side with his teammates there through the Senna S's, and I think he just about got ahead. No, it looks as if Piquet in fact got ahead of him as well. And wow, that is just awful. But anyway, we're going to take a look on board now with Niki Lauda to see what sort of start he got. So you can see he started in P10. just behind his teammate, and he was very, very cautious into turn 1. You know, just trying not to take any of his front wing off, obviously, like Sebastian Vettel did at this corner at Desida do Lago in 2012. So he actually got ahead of his teammate, though. Probably a little bit of team orders going on there, and as we skip onto lap 3 now, we can see he has the DRS, does Lauda, and behind you can see the two Renaults trying to make a move on his teammate. But as we now go into Desida do Lago, and it looks as if Lauda has managed to get through on Nelson Piquet in that Brabham car. So that was a little bit of carnage there into turn 4. But we're going to take a look at a little bit of a better replay now. So it was Juan Manuel Fangio just ahead of Lauda, and he had to brake early. And it looks as if a lot of them just sort of outbraked themselves. And Piquet was just left on the outside on the exit of Desida do Lago. And sure enough, that was the case. And Lauda is up into P8. But anyway, we get a pretty good exit there off Junsao. And we do get our first bit of DRS at the end of lap 3. And as we now come towards the center S's, are we going to be able to make a move on Hakkinen? No, we don't. We think better of it. We have still got another 32 laps, but Hakkinen, in fact, locks up. And it looks as if Senna did as well. And at the moment, we've just got to bide our time. And as we come through the Curva do Sol onto the Repa Oposta, also known as the DRS straight, which we'll probably go with. Oh my word, there's been contact. Hakkinen made a move on Senna, and we've gone into the back of him. We've lost half of our front wing, and that is just disaster. And oh my word, we can just see our championship go up in flames almost instantly. And we are down into P10. We've been passed by Lauda. And, well, this is just not what we wanted whatsoever. You can see we've got an orange front wing, which means we're going to have to come in and replace it at the end of lap 4. And, well, this just throws us completely off. I mean, today it was looking like a cross between a 2 or a 3 stopper. But we really needed to run these tyres a little bit longer if we wanted to go onto a 2-stopper. And this is going to be a very, very long pit stop. You can see they're fitting the wing, but it's just not quick whatsoever. And it feels like an eternity when you've got a championship to battle for. And they fit the hard tyres onto our car at the end of lap 4. And as we come out of the pit lane, we are currently in P20. And I'm not sure, I assume someone like Jim Clark has probably already come into the pit lane. And it looks as if we're going to be pretty much side by side on the exit. And it looks as if our fellow Brit has just about jumped us in the John Player Special Lotus car. And sure enough, just to add a little bit more misery to our day, we are now stuck behind a Lotus. We've still got Rubens Barrichello behind us, who must have had troubles early on. But now, just look how much faster we are than Jim Clark. And as we now go into the into turn 8, it looks as if we've made a move around the outside, and sure enough, we have. And can we make it stick into turn number 10? It looks as if we can. And that is a beautiful move there around the outside. And as we go through Magulo and into Junsao, well, once again, in fact, on lap 9, we are now behind Jackie Stewart in the Tyrrell and Nelson Piquet in the Brabham car. So I assume Piquet has come into the pits because when we spun, we were, in fact, just behind him. So he must have come into the pit lane at some point, and now we are closing in on him. I don't believe so. Stewart has made a pit stop yet. We've been forced right to the inside. We do make a move on Piquet, and it looks as if we've also made a move on Jackie Stewart. A little bit of a lock up there into the center S, but, well, we have managed to make the move. And Piquet also managing to get past the Tyrrell car. And he is up into a better position now. But anyway, up into P16, and there's a 3-way battle going on ahead now in the middle of the circuit through turn number 7. I believe we are at now. Or is it turn 8? I can't quite remember. I think it's turn 7. But anyway, we are behind Emerson Fittipaldi. And, well, at the moment, we're just trying to get a good run through Junsao and get on the DRS at the end of lap 12. But there you can see running up the hill, and it's a little bit of wheel spin by the looks of it there. And can we get a good run up the hill? It looks as if we've not got a great run, but fortunately Fittipaldi is in the pit lane. Looks as if he's in fact gone for 2 soft stints. So he's definitely committed to a 3-stop at this stage. But anyway, that gives us a couple of free positions. Nigel Mansell came into the pit lane that lap as well. And the same with Schumacher on lap 13. So we're just being a little bit starved of any sort of on-track battles at the moment. But to be honest, this stage of the race is just about trying to make up as many positions as possible after the calamity that we had at the start of the race. But anyway, we are on to lap 14 now, and you can see that Lauda is battling with Ayrton Senna. Senna goes down the inside into his own corner, the Senna S, and they are side by side now. Lauda doesn't really need to be fighting, because he is still ahead of us, which means he would win the championship if he stayed in this position. But that was the battle for P3, I believe. Yeah, Senna manages to get ahead of the Austrian. I was trying to think what nationality he was there. But anyway, Lauda is still in championship position, more importantly. And there you could see in the background was us. And we are stuck behind Alain Prost at the moment, who gets a very, very poor exit through that corner. But now as we come towards Junsal once more, this time on lap 15, we're going to go to the outside, clip the curb on the inside, and yes, we are. We're going to go up into Rich Mix and onto this straight and try and make the move. The tactic for this race was to just go rich on all the straights and lean in the middle section of the track in the corners. It seems to be working at the moment because we've got the engine power over the Renault car. We dive it down the inside of the 4-time world champion Frenchman, and we do in fact make up another position. And but it looks as if now he is in fact going to get the DRS. Yes, he is. And as we make the run now down into turn 4, is he going to make the move? Yes, he is, into Descida de Largo, and that is, well, just back to square one for us. Completely so. But anyway, we are running now through Ferradura, and we're going to try and stick it round the outside. Are we going to be able to do it? I don't think so. But we are just going to go side by side through this section of track. And you can just see it's ebbing and flowing. At one moment I'm ahead, the next moment it's Prost. This time it's Prost as we go into the second hairpin in the middle of the circuit. But we stick it down the inside, and it looks as if we have managed to get the move done at this time. But of course Prost will now get the DRS at the end of this lap. And it's going to be interesting to see whether we can in fact stay ahead at this point. You can see him in our left-hand wing mirror. It looks as if he's going to maybe try one down the inside. We haven't blocked the circuit. We've let him have a bit of room, because if he does get ahead of us into the Senna S, then we're obviously going to be getting the DRS. But that time it didn't look as if he in fact had any pace, and we get a much better run this time through the Senna S to hopefully be able to defend from him this time. And we go now to the replay camera, and he's going to try and stick one around the outside, but is he going to be able to make the move? No, he's locked up, and that is surely the end of his charge now. You can see he loses quite a bit of time there, and we do manage to hold the position. But anyway, on to lap 22, skipping 5 laps ahead now. You can see that I believe that is Niki Lauda. So we've got Senna, followed by... sorry, no, that is Senna, who is ahead of Fangio. No, it isn't. It's Lewis Hamilton and Niki Lauda. So Hamilton, who was leading this Grand Prix, has fallen right back into the clutches. And I don't know whether he's trying to make an extra stop this afternoon or what, because he was quite a way ahead of Senna and Lauda, but he was behind Ayrton Senna, who obviously peeled into the pit lane there. And now Lauda is chasing after the lead of this Grand Prix, which, well, it's just not ideal for us whatsoever at this stage. But anyway, end of lap 23, and we are going to come into the pit lane. We've managed to do 19 laps on these hard tyres, and yeah, they're a little bit worse for wear, but not feeling too bad, to be fair. So I had full confidence that we could run the final 12 or 13 laps of this race on the medium tyres. A beautiful shot there of what is hopefully our final pit stop of the season. I have to thank the Red Bull guys, and boy oh boy have they sent us off with a good pit stop. 1.7 seconds. They are doing everything they can. And as we now go back up into standard mix, we're going to just floor the throttle on the exit of the pit lane and emerge ahead of Michael Schumacher into P10. And the next lap of the Grand Prix saw Lauda come into the pit lane. So, yeah, it looks as if he is possibly a pit stop behind Hamilton. at the moment. So whether Hamilton was out of sync when we had a look at that, I'm not sure. But yeah, only a couple of laps later, Lauda came into the pit lane for the medium tyres. So yeah, it looks as if he's on the same strategy as us, which is a little bit disappointing, meaning that we're going to have to pass him on the track and do a little bit more. So at this moment, our only hope is a safety car or for Lauda to retire, because his pit stop has gone pretty much to plan, and he emerges just behind my teammate, in fact, so he can hopefully cause him a few troubles. And as we look back there, you can see that we're probably, what are we, 6.8 seconds behind, so we've only got 10 laps to go, meaning that we've got to close it over a second a lap, really. And well, that just wasn't really the case. Well, at least for the next couple of laps. But anyway, you can see that Alonso is now emerging from the pit lane. So we are coming out just ahead of him. Thank God for that. So if we are to close in on Lauda, which is looking ever more unlikely, at least we have a clean run to him. It's now up to 7 seconds. So not ideal. Not ideal, I think, is the way of saying it. So you can see there he is just behind our teammate Vettel, who is yet to make his final pit stop. So he's just trying to play the team role at the moment. And then you've got Ayrton Senna, and way out in the lead, he is in fact a pit stop ahead of everyone else, is Lewis Hamilton. So on to lap 29, you can see that is our teammate trying to hold up Lauda for at least a couple more laps. But Lauda dives it down the inside. Is he going to be able to make a move, or will Vettel have something to say about it? And I believe they're both on the same compound of tyre, but Lauda manages to get through and up into P3. Senna has really bolted up ahead, so that just shows you how much he was being held up by Sebastian Vettel. Vettel is closing, but not by enough. And as they go now through turn 4, it is Lauda up into P3. And on to lap 30, well, Vettel was basically going backwards at this stage. As I said, I believe he's still got one more pit stop to make in this Grand Prix. So hopefully he doesn't hold us up too much. We've just got 6 laps remaining, and we're going to dive one down the inside at the start of lap 31. Quite a big lockup, and we go really, really deep into the Senna S, but we managed to just about get it corrected in time. And hopefully, seeing as he's our teammates, please be nice, Sebastian. Don't come back through on me. And it looks as if he's going to stick behind us at this stage. Yes, he does. He doesn't make any attempt to try and move out of our slipstream. He knows exactly what is in order this afternoon. And as we now go on to lap 34, starting lap 34, you can see Juan Manuel Fangio is going to make a move on Fernando Alonso. So this is for the position right behind myself. For P5, I believe, or is it? Yes, P5 at the moment. So Fangio's gone for quite an aggressive strategy, and it seems to be paying off for him at the moment. And as we go on to lap 35, you can see that he is actually right behind us now, and he sort of pulled Alonso along with him. So at this moment, all we've got to hope for is to see in that top corner, in the top middle of the screen, for it to say Niki Lauda has retired from the race. If that is the case, then we get the championship, but that is all we have to hope for as we now go on to the final lap of this wonderful season of the F1 Legends career mode. We see Fangio make a move down the inside. We try and counter it, but it just isn't going to happen. And then he gets ahead of us into P4, and surely we're going to have something to say about that at the moment. But as we go on to the DRS, there is just nothing we can do. And we're actually going to go on board with Farina now, because he has had a puncture at the end of lap 34 and the start of lap 35. So you can see Mika Hakkinen, who once again, the strategy just baffles me down at McLaren. He is now stuck behind Farina, and this could be interesting, because if we look now, just look at the massive train of cars behind him. And if this is the case, possibly the leaders could come up to lap him just about at the end of the race. So now we are on board with Lewis Hamilton. We'll take a look at Hamilton, who is ahead of Senna, and then Lauda is in P3. And now you can just see, as we go back to Lewis Hamilton, he is stuck behind a Lotus, who is then stuck behind Farina. This is the most bizarre end to a season that you will ever see. So Farina, who has a puncture, is holding up the race winner, or potential race winner, and so he peels off into the pits. They're back up to racing speed, and there you can see Lewis Hamilton takes his first and final victory of the Season 1 here. Ayrton Senna takes P2, and now you can see Niki Lauda crosses the line. He is the world champion. We could have nothing up our sleeves to have anything to say about that. So you can see Fangio managed to take P4 in the end, and we come across the line slightly dejected to finish in P5 for this final race of the season. Wow, what a season it has been. And there you can see Niki Lauda is going to have a little bit of a celebration, doing some donuts for the fans. He is the Season 1 world champion, and boy oh boy, what a season it has been for the Austrian. Of course, still around in the F1 paddock nowadays, and there you can see the Ferrari guys are looking very, very happy about it. So fair play to them. They very much outdid me this season, and as he then emerges from the car, he realises what he has done. He is the world champion, and, well, is he going to come back to defend it for Season 2? You guys, that is just all up to you guys down in the comment section to see whether we come back for another season. But there you can see the final race results of the first season of the F1 Legends career. Lewis Hamilton took the victory, of course, ahead of Senna, Lauda, Fangio and myself. Jack Brabham just didn't have a good race whatsoever. He finished down in P9 but did manage to take some points. And there you can see the non-points finishing positions. Quite a lot of drivers, in fact, getting lapped. It is, of course, a very short circuit around Interlagos. But, wow. Here we now go on to the final driver's standings. Lauda took victory by 14 points, so it was quite convincing in the end, to be fair to him. Couldn't really argue with that. And Fangio finished third, quite a long way behind. And Senna and Hamilton, a couple of good ends to the season for them. They were 4th and 5th. And there you can see the bottom half of the driver's standings. Very disappointing for my teammate there in P12. You can pause if you do want to have a look at a particular driver. But only 2 drivers, in fact, failed to get on the board 4 points. And that was Jackie Stewart and Nelson Piquet, I believe. And there we are, the final constructors standings of the season, and Ferrari went home with that accolade of constructors champions ahead of McLaren, who were in fact tied on points with Red Bull. But seeing as we didn't take any victories all season, and I believe Ayrton Senna did at the Monaco Grand Prix, they take second place on that, with Mercedes 4th, Lotus 5th, and Venner with a very strong end to the season, managing to finish in at 6th. Tyrrell and Brabham tied there at the bottom in 10th and 11th. But boys, I cannot thank you guys enough for the support that you've given me on this series. It really has been fantastic. And hopefully we can see each other again in F1 2017. I'll see you in a couple of days for that content. But until then, guys, do take care. I'll catch you then. Bye-bye.